Hello, I'm Gary Thornton, Content Director of Poultry at Watt. I'm here with Dr. John Brake at North Carolina State University, and he has just given a speech about limited feeder and watering space in housing for breeders. And Dr. Brake, would you tell us a little bit about your research?
Thank you. One of the paradigms in broiler breeder management is that all birds have to eat at the same time, and one of the pillars of that paradigm is having enough feed space. So if you read the manuals, typically you're talking about 15 centimeters or 6 inches of feed space. That's kind of the international standard, although many of our operations in the United States use less. What we have been noticing is that we had a lot less floor eggs, and in many cases more egg production and lower mortality when birds were more crowded. So we've just finished making a presentation about work we were doing in industrial situations in Turkey, where we reduced the feeder space significantly from what is recommended in the manuals, going down as low as 10 centimeters or 12 centimeters versus the 17 or 18 that you might see in many situations. And what we see is a significant decline in floor eggs, and which is a big deal because that reduces our contamination and improves our chick quality, and also just we lose less eggs because many floor eggs are simply eaten by the hens. We expect to do more of this work. Some of the other work we've seen is that we get better livability, like I said. This really goes against some of the existing paradigms of animal welfare that are being promoted in the European Union, for instance. Our data says that more space is actually killing our birds and is actually creating less welfare or poorer welfare, whichever way you want to say, compared to what people's beliefs would be that more space is good. And when I'm talking about feeder space, I'm not talking about floor space, that kind of issue. We're talking about just at the maintaining competition at that feed trough. It looks to us that we're getting more uniform birds that the breast meat is more uniform, and that, in our experience, contributes to much better livability long term. We see a lot less mortality due to E. coli, what is called egg peritonitis in broiler breeders, and it's just generally a better livability, a better situation. So we expect to see this data basically in many ways justify or support the typical thing we see in the United States of using fairly restricted feed space. And so our welfare is not necessarily worse than what we're seeing in other parts of the world, even though the paradigm would say that maybe we are crowding our birds too much. I think not.
Thank you, Dr. Brake.